20-6 lead for Pitt. We move on to 165. Gaetano console for Duke. Holden Heller ranked number 15 this week. He'll get the nod for Pitt, although Heller has kind of been up and down a little bit. He's lost 5 straight entering tonight's matchup. But according to Coach Keith Gavin, this is the best he's ever been.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. So he's a transfer from Hofstra, a former EIWA champ. Really funky, dangerous on top. Unexpected that you'd see a guy like that lose 5 matches in a row. He's had a tough slate. But I agree with Coach Gavin. This is actually the best he's been, I think, in college. And he's a guy who's looking to get back on track as we head towards the ACC tournament as well as the national tournament.
Yeah, obviously, the older guys, as Heller is, redshirt senior, they've been through these wars before. Probably not guys to panic if you lose 2, 3, 4 in a row, because you know there's a lot of wrestling ahead of you.
Absolutely, yeah. You've been through that, the doldrums of the season, and experienced that and know how to get back to it. We talk about that. Console with a nice football carry there. Console's a guy who can lull people in very, very strong if he ever gets his hands on you. We'll see if he can get to some of his positions. Both of these guys can be very funky. Console likes to go for throws, headlocks, lat drops. Heller loves to roll around on the mat, the new funk, and get to his top positions and try and put you in danger.
One of the things Glenn Lanham said about Console is kind of like Babe Ruth. He swings at everything.
Yes, absolutely. If he gets to positions like this, like the one he has now, he's got this overhook. It's tight. He's jacked Heller up. He loves to go for these home run shots. And now, in talking with Coach Lanham, talking about getting to more stable leg attacks, he uses it to get to a leg. Heller rolls under. That's a danger. Ooh, and we're calling out of bounds here. That's close. Duke corner doesn't love that. Console gets to a single leg. Heller goes leg pass. Console actually catches him on top. Heller's able to come out, prevent the danger call, and we're back to neutral.
You think Glenn Lanham's going to like the effort of his club so far tonight?
I think the energy's been a lot better. He challenged these guys in the room, and I think they've wrestled much harder against a very talented Pitt team who's had a number of good wins this year. And I think, Duke has fed off the crowd a little bit in that challenge from their coach. And I think the better Duke teams in the past have really fed off Coach Lanham's intensity, his passion for the sport. And I've seen more of that investment tonight in this young Duke crew. Console back to that over. Again, Pittsburgh right side underhook. Console's got head position here. And we're back in space.
Still 0-0 with less than 30 seconds to go in this opening period.
And Console's really been the one who's kind of dictated the hand fight here. As we talked about, he can kind of at times lull you to sleep from space, and he's really gotten after it more this evening, which is exactly what Coach Lanham wanted him to do against a guy like Heller.
Heller trying to snap a 5-match skid here. It'll be 0-0 as we go to the second. But one of the things Coach Lanham said about this group is he said, we've got a lot of young lion cubs that we're taking out on the hunt. And I think sometimes, and curious to get your perspective as a former wrestler, the more you do it, the more reps you get, the more times you're on the mat, the more experience you get, and maybe you don't seem like a freshman or a sophomore as much.
Exactly. You have to, the phrasing is battle tested that Coach Lanham will talk about. You have to come into battle. Console, the quick escape, was actually a little bit surprised he took bottom there, and he's out in under 10 seconds. But exactly, you have to face that adversity and understand that it's really an honor anytime you're a college athlete to put on that singlet, represent your university, represent your family, represent your brothers out there. It's a real honor, and any time you get the chance to do it, it's a great thing. And I can tell you from experience, it ends very quickly. Console, it's been the battle of Heller's gone to this right side underhook. Console liking the overhook. Console now front headlock. He goes for that snake position, gets to his underhook. And he's really dictating the pace here. Gets to his high crotch. He's in on the leg.
Turns him over.
Heller goes leg pass. Console's got to drive over his own foot. And Heller
What an escape there.
Oh my God, ends up leg pass. Console catches his ankle, somehow comes out from under, ends up on top of the scramble. And that's the type of stuff that he does. That's what Keith Gavin was talking about before the match. Just the funk that he has to get out of those positions. There's really not a feel that you can emulate to practice against something like that.
Let's take another look. Seemed like Console in control, and then Heller, the great reversal.
Console goes underhook, high crotch. Heller goes leg pass. Console drives over his own ankle. And you'll see Heller gets an underhook with his left arm there, gets to the hip and drives over his own leg and ends up back in on a leg. Just the strength through that level of flexibility is impressive.
Some of that, too, is a redshirt senior in Heller going against a sophomore in Console as well, isn't it?
Experience and feel, absolutely, absolutely. This is a guy in Heller who's seen it all. He's seen these positions, and Console probably hasn't seen a guy like Heller, the way that he wrestles. And I think this is going to be this could be a stall on Heller. Absolutely, I agree with that one.
4 seconds to go. This is just the third-ranked wrestler that Console has faced this year, and the highest-ranked wrestler that the young sophomore has faced in this campaign for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Console's big breakout win this year is against Peyton Hall of West Virginia, former All-American, who Console headlocked right to his back in the first period. A win that, you know, Coach Landeman talking to him was hoping that Console could build off of.
We talk about experience and being battle-tested. How about Pitt and the schedule they have seen against ranked opponents this year? Unbelievably difficult.
They may have had the toughest dual schedule in the country. They've beaten Ohio State and Lehigh. They had Arizona State beat until Dayton Pitzer ends up getting injured at heavyweight, and they end up having to default that match, which it seemed like Pitzer, you know, wanted to gut it out, and I think the coaching staff smartly pulled him off the mat when his shoulder wasn't working anymore. But these guys have faced a who's who of the top of the wrestling world as they get into the ACC season.
Yeah, seven ranked opponents that Pitt has faced so far this year. You saw NC State there, the number 8 team in the country. Wolfpack in action tonight at 8:30 on ACC Network. They're taking on their arch nemesis, North Carolina. So tune in for that one.
Should be a good match. The Wolfpack always bring it.
4-1 the lead here for Heller, with about 75 seconds to go in the third period.
Same score as 157, or that was 4-2, I guess, but same type of scenario. I think Console's got to get back to his left side underhook where he got that high crotch, create another kind of scramble position, see if you come out on top. We're under a minute here.
Is it go time now for Console?
I think it's got to be, and a lot of times we as wrestlers, we're trying to pick out that one perfect shot, but as we get towards 30 seconds, in the room, every coach talks about what's your go-to attack. 30 seconds left in the NCAA finals, where are you going? And Console's got to have that in his head. I've got to go to that position. And this is where another position where the three-point takedown, Heller gets a stall there. The three-point takedown gives him the opportunity to burn that stall very cleanly there and maintain that 4-2 lead.
It's the 3 points with 15 seconds to go, and much like what we saw at 157, a little late add-on here by Pitt, and a match that will be a lot closer than the final score would indicate.
Absolutely. I thought it was a competitive performance from Console, just the veteran savvy of Heller to come out on top there.
Snaps the 5-match losing streak for Heller. Pitt adds to the lead as they pick up another victory.
And he's remembering how to get his hand raised there. We'll
how important is that, just to remember how, when you've been struggling, you've lost 4 or 5 in a row, just to get your hand raised? What does that do for the psyche of a wrestler?
People don't understand that the mental side of college wrestling is so much